learn how to spell the long O sound in the beginning and middle of words. The O sound is spelled different at the end than it is at the beginning and the middle. So like, and it's going to be spelled today as an OA. So like if you're familiar with the word oat, you see that OA at the beginning, right? Or the word float, you'll see that OA in the middle. But we're not going to use the OA to spell the O sound at the end of words. Like if we wanted the word flow, you would never spell it like that with an OA at the end. Does anybody know why? Good, Nathan. Yeah, it's because A's at the end say ah. So that OA is not the best spelling for the O sound at the end. O at the end is spelled with an OW or just plain old O, which we're going to learn later on in the month. But for now, we're going to keep that OA for the beginning or middle of words. And for spelling, you already learned, you learned last week, that you can also spell the long O sound with just a plain old O, right? Like the word robot. You don't need an OA there. Here's why. And this is what I want you to really pay attention to and focus on. When you're spelling the O sound, start with an O. That's all you need. If one of the next two letters is another vowel, like in robot, you'll see that there's another vowel in the next one or two spots. If that happens, if one of the next two letters is another vowel, all you need is an O to spell the O sound. But like in the word, I think of a good example. Let's go with oatmeal. In oatmeal, if I just spelled it with a O right there, there's not another vowel in the next one or two spots. So that would have to say oatmeal, right? So we use an OA when you need another vowel. Now there's different ways to spell the O sound too, besides just O and OA. But we're going to get to those and those patterns a little later on in the month. There's OE, there's O, and then a consonant and a silent E. But for now, we're just going to do O or OA. We're going to start with O. If it works, if there's a vowel one or two doors away, stop, you're done. If not, you put an OA in there. So let's practice that. Somebody is saying, I'm not able to type my answers to your questions. Well, just like you just did, just put it in the Q&A. That's perfect. Sarah, what about only? Yeah, you know, that's an exception to this rule. This is a pattern that is it's a most of the time. It's a most of the time pattern. And it's really good for, you are going to see some exceptions though. But when you're spelling, it is important to know what the most common spelling patterns are so that you can make educated assumptions when you're spelling. All right, let me share my screen here. Okay. All right, let's start with brope. Brope. So we're going to separate the sounds first. We have b, r, o, p. Consonants. B, r, o, p. Now I can't use just a plain old O right here because that can't say O in that spot. It would have to say ah because there's not a vowel one or two doors away. If there's not a vowel one or two doors away, you make a vowel one or two doors away. That would say brope. Now, if you're wondering, why can't I spell it like that? You can. You can. However, this O consonant E is usually used There are exceptions, like in the word rope, but it's usually used in the end of longer words. In shorter words, we usually use that OA. And for spelling English words, we have to rely on usually. Yeah, very good. All right, your word is slowed. Slowed. Go ahead and try it. Slowed. Yeah, go ahead and put your answer in the Q&A for me. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like this word that you probably already know how to spell, right? But this word is the past tense of slow. And this O comes at the end of that word. That's why it is spelled with the OW. OW is the most common spelling for O at the end of words. So even though it looks like it's in the middle of this word, it's really not. It's at the end of the base word, and then we have the ED suffix making it past tense. So that's what's happening there. So that's why you need to know how to spell based on where it is in the word and the letters that surround it. So we're working on the beginning and middle of words. Slowed, slowed. And those first couple letters might be a little hard to hear, but we're working on developing that awareness of these little sounds. So in slowed, you have s, l. Then the last sound is a consonant d. Slowed. Now I can't spell it with just a plain old O right there, the O sound, because there's not a vowel in the next one or two spots. If I want that to say O, I have to put a vowel in the next one or two spots. If there's not one, I make one. And OA is the best choice. Yeah, very good. So there is slowed. Good. Okay, your next word is, let's do this one together. Flowned. Flowned. My first letter is an F, if that's hard to hear in the mic. So we have F, L, O, N, D. Consonants. F, L, O, N, D. Now for the O sound, I start with an O, but I can't leave it like that because that would say floned because of those two consonants after it. The O sound needs another vowel in the next one or two spots. If there's not one, make one. Now it can say flowned. Flowned. Your word. Bromp. Bromp. Make sure that your lines match mine. We have B, R, O, M, P. Now try spelling it. And put it in the chat for me, or the Q&A. Bromp. Bromp. My last sound is a P. There you go. There you go. Nice. Yeah. Right. So make sure that you have the same number of sounds as me. This is going to be the hardest sound to hear right there because my mouth is forming the same shape as the beginning of this sound. So this is, my mouth is closed and I'm saying right here. So the sounds are B, R, O, saving that one to the end. Then we have the M, P. Now I can't spell the O sound with just a plain old O right here because the next two letters are consonants and that would say bromp. Right? So if I want this to say O, I have to put another vowel in the next one or two spots. So that best choice is going to be an A. There's bromp. Bromp. Yeah. If it's hard to hear if this is an M or an N, it's always going to be an M if it's before a P. Just a fun fact. If it's before a P, it's going to be an M. I'm pretty sure that that's either an always or an almost always rule. You can, it's at least an almost always rule. All right, next word is osh. Osh. Let's separate the sounds. We have O, sh. Here's our vowel sound. So we only have one consonant sound, and for the sh sound, we spell that with an SH. For the O sound, I'm going to start with an O, but I can't leave it there because that would say osh. For that O to say O, it must have another vowel in the next one or two spots. If there's not one, make one. And OA is the best choice for the O sound at the beginning and middle of words. Good. Nice. Your word is probably going to be a little easy for you if you got that one. Och. Och. Go ahead. Och. Yep. Yeah. So that CH is spelling the consonant sound ch. And then we have the OA spelling the O sound at the beginning. Now, if this says och, now you can easily spell the word roach, right? Now you know how to spell roach, and you know why to spell it that way, because it's that OA spelling of the O sound. And now you know why roach is spelled the way it is. Okay, let's try troplop. Troplop. Let's do this one together. We have T-R-O-P-L-A-P. Consonants. T-R-O-P-L-A-P. Vowels. For the O sound, I'm going to start with an O, but it looks like I can't leave it there because there's not a vowel in the next one or two spots, so I must use an OA. And then for the ah sound, I can use an O just fine right there. That will say ah in that spot because there's not a vowel in the next one or two spots. So there's troplop. Try yours. Your word is clone top. Now, whenever you hear a k in this class, spell it with a C until I tell you different, until I teach you when to not use a C. So your word is clone top. Clone top. Clone top. Beautiful. Nice. Yeah. So thank you for spelling that k sound with a C. Perfect. Then we have O, N, T, A, and P. Those are our consonants. For the O sound, I cannot leave it with just a plain old O right here because the next two letters are consonants, which would force that O to say ah. I don't want clon top. I want clone top. So if there's not another vowel in the next one or two spots, I make one. And OA is the best choice for the beginning and middle of words. Now for this ah sound, an O will work just fine right there to say ah. That's clone top. Okay. And we're always going to spell the k sound with a C until I tell you different. There are 3 different ways to spell that sound, but they each have their own rule, and I haven't taught you these yet, and I'm not going to ever ask you to spell a sound that I haven't taught you how to spell yet. So these are going to get their own lesson. So for now, we're only going to stick with the C spelling for the k sound. All right, your next word is let's do troplop. Troplop. Let's do it together. Now we have another t-er. I must have really wanted you to focus on that sound. Oh, we just did that one. No wonder we have another er. Okay, your word is oplant. Oplant. Let's do this one together. O p l a n t. Consonants. O p l a n t. Vowels. The O sound can't be left with just a plain old O because the next two letters are consonants, and that would say ah. I don't want ah plant, I want o plant, so I must spell it with an OA right there. So now there's a vowel in the next one or two spots. For this O, it can say ah right here because of those two consonants after it. That would say o plant, o plant. Very good. Nice. All right, your word is otrond. Otrond. Go ahead. Try to line up the number of sounds that you have with what I have here. Otrond. It's funny when autocorrect fixes your word for you. It's funny to read what it comes up with, what it thinks you're trying to spell. Otrond. Okay, we have consonants O, T, R, A, N, D. For the O sound, I cannot leave it with just a plain old O. I must use an OA right here. And then for the A sound, an O will work just fine right here. Somebody was wondering if this can be, that A can say ah right here. And it would be Otron with an A spelling right there. Probably not, because A can say ah, but only in certain circumstances. It has to come right after or right before certain letters. And it has to be in a certain spot in the word. And I'm really excited to teach you about that. But for now, O is going to be the only spelling of the ah sound until I teach you. We get to, I think it's the R controlled month. R controlled month is, I think, in June or July. You'll learn about all of those different ways that R and W control the sound of the vowel before it. Okay, yeah. All right, let's see. We have time for one more? Maybe. Let's do a fast one here. I want your word to be shost. Shost. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Shost. 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 Nice. Good. Yeah. Very good. Okay, shost. So our consonants are sh, o, s, t. A lot of articulation that has to be very clear when we pronounce this word, and the spelling of it will help us to articulate the word clearly. For the O sound, we can't use just a regular O right here, can we? Because that would say shost, right? We would have to put the OA here for shost. And now if you can spell shost, you can confidently spell toast. It's just a different initial consonant sound. Now you know why toast and roast are spelled the way they are, because of that OA spelling of the O sound at the beginning and middle of words. So you have learned that OA is how you spell the long O sound in the beginning and middle of words when there's not already another vowel in the next one or two spots. How are you feeling about that knowledge? Let me know, was it, were you able to grasp it? Are you feeling okay? Feeling pretty confident? Good. Good. Y'all are amazing. Now, if you did not know, hopefully you know, tomorrow is our first practicum. So if you would like to join me over there, the invitation is in the modules, and then we get to have our mics on and our cameras on, and I get to work with you more one-on-one. So hopefully I'll see you over there tomorrow. In the meantime, you are amazing. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow, if not Wednesday. Bye, everybody.